Hello, everybody. Welcome back to my channel. I'm Susan Lynn. I'm a psychic and a medium, and this channel, or at least 50% of this channel anyway, is dedicated to spiritual self-help, really and truly guidance for you on your spiritual journey. And today you have tuned into a series, whether you know it or not. It is a whole series called Wow. It was Way Out Wednesdays, and now it's Wisdom on Wednesdays. And I am channeling. So I am channeling my spirit guides, 60% them, 40% Susan, just to keep it spicy. And today we're going to talk to you about why you're not getting guidance. Okay, you guys, for real, I've done a lot of videos on all of the separate components of this video. I'm going to put those videos in the description below so that you can learn more about this, because this is a very complicated subject. It is not a simple subject. It is a complicated subject. And I've done a lot of videos about it. But today I'm going to give you some real pointers. I'm hopefully going to get right at the heart of the matter and help you figure out what the heck. Why are my spirit guides? Where are they? Are they in the break room? Are they down at the Krispy Kremes? What is they? They went to the beach. From their perspective, they're calling you, and it's a busy line. So let's figure out how we can clear up this miscommunication between you and your guardian angels, your spirit guides, your birth guides, whatever you guys want to call them. Tomato, doesn't matter. Yes, you were born with your own heavenly, celestial, divine guides. So let's get started. I'm going to tell you the 5 reasons right now, and then I'm going to go through each of the 5 reasons. The 5 reasons are: you're not recognizing it. You're not recognizing the guidance. Number 2, you're not asking for help. Oh, don't be screaming at the screen. I done told y'all it's bad for your blood pressure. I know you've been asking for help. That's for some of y'all that haven't been asking for help, and you know who you are, Susan. Anyway, number 3, not allowing, accepting, or believing it. That's a whole video right there, y'all. Not allowing, accepting, or believing it. Number 4, not acting on it, not taking action. You're not taking action on the guidance. They're going to take a break. Believe me, I speak from experience. Number 5, not acknowledging, which is different than acting on the guidance and being in a state of gratitude. I know this also because my guides tell me to do things all the time that, frankly, I don't think is nice, right? Like, I'm not in agreement with what they're telling me to do. Like, stop eating so much cheese, stop eating so much chocolate, maybe cut down on the donuts. No. I don't agree with any of that. So therefore, I'm out of alignment with the guidance. Okay. Now let's start at the top. I told you Spicy Susan is here. I know that's why y'all show up. Okay. Number 1, not recognizing it. We've done a lot of videos, and I say we, and I'm not talking about no mouse. I got no mouse in my pocket. I'm talking about all these divine bosses that I got standing around me. See, that's the wrong attitude right off the bat. Right off the bat, I'm a bad teacher. Okay, let's rephrase that, shall we? All of the divine beings that are helping me be the best to hit all those targets, to hit all those goals that my very, what is the word for when you're crazy? No, my very optimistic and overconfident spirit, my overconfident soul said, Susan's going to go down. She's going to pick this family. She's going to pick this, set of astrological planets that are going to make her a certain way. She's going to choose her gender, her sex, her race, and and this is going to be great. It's because it's really going to be hard. Because I asked them and they said, yeah, you wanted it to be sporting. I still want a word with whoever that was, that original version of me. Believe me, when I cross over, y'all going to see fireworks down here. Okay. Again, do not follow I'm going to push Susan out of the way so that the spirit guides can come through and actually give you good guidance, because it's not good. Truly, you guys, it is not good to be out of alignment with your spirit guides, because is it good to eat donuts and chocolate and cheese? I mean, I know I had a complaint from Wisconsin, literally. I love cheese. There's nothing wrong with cheese, except for that if you eat 5 pounds of one sitting, you got a problem. everything should be in, moderation, perhaps. So that's kind of it. You might say that becomes an addiction at some point, might you? So anyway, nothing wrong with cheese, just when you eat too much of it. Anything too much, bad. Okay, let's get started. Once again, I'm so sorry that I just totally went off the rails there. I'm going to give them a little bit more more reins of this wild thing that's going on. Not recognizing it. So listen, guys, there's something as a caveat that I want to tell you, and that is that in my understanding, and again, this is all just my understanding of this, find the teacher that works best for you, especially one that doesn't scream at their spirit guides. Probably better. Just saying, probably better. Okay. Your spirit guides that are your birth guides came with you, down the chute into your body, and they've been assigned to you throughout your life. Their goal, they have one job, only one job. And that job is to help you on your soul path, which is the path you decided that you wanted to accomplish or to try to accomplish while you're in this human body. Okay, that's it. That's their job. Do you think if you go to somebody and you say, hey, you need to go over there and do this, that they're going to do it if it's not their job? I don't think so. Well, some of you will. Stop doing that. It's not healthy. Have some boundaries. Have some self-respect. No, if it's not your job, you say, no, I'm sorry. That is not my job. That's what the spirit guides do. When you say, why didn't my spirit guides do this or do that? It's because their job is very narrow, and that is to help you on your soul path. Now, you gave them free will. You gave them your approval to step over your free will. Do you understand what I'm saying? They have your approval to step over your free will when it comes to your soul path. Honey, if your soul path has got nothing to do with that loser you've been dating, that third spouse, then they're not going to help you. They're just not going to help you. You should see number 2. That's number 2 is for you, honey. Okay, but for number 1, your spirit guides are helping you. Now, how do you recognize it? I, again, done tons of videos on this, but just briefly, if it has to do with your soul path, you will do things as if you're being guided to do it. Like you'll say, I don't know what got into me. I don't know why I signed up for this class. I don't know why I put in this application, resume, CV for this new job. I don't know. I got a wild hair. Remember those sayings? I don't know what got into me. I did something crazy the other day. I applied to go back to school and I was accepted, but I didn't tell you because I didn't know if I'd be accepted. So now I'm going back to school. Or you get the offer for the new job or the new class or the new school, or perhaps even for marriage. And all of a sudden you're like, no, I don't know why. I can't tell you why. Surely you guys have all experienced something like that. I can't explain it. Don't ask me why. I had to break up with them. I don't know why. You had to, because in that case, in those cases, it was on your soul path. So yes, sometimes a relationship can muck up your soul path, and you better believe your spirit guides will do everything they can to move that person out of the way, or to move you out of the way of that person. Whatever's in the purview of your soul path that you decided when you came down here. You can get an Akashic Records reading, aka SHIC, Akashic Records reading. You can get a lot of readings to try to find out your soul path. I think I've done a video or 2 on it. So recognize it, catch them in the act. I've done a lot of videos on this where you get a song that's playing in your head. You haven't heard that song in months or a year or years. Those lyrics that you're hearing in your head, that's guidance. That's guidance from your spirit guides. If you start seeing an ad on the computer, the TV all the time, that can be guidance. If your friend says, oh my gosh, I got the best doctor. I mean, I don't know how I got this doctor because, you can't find a good doctor these days, but they're also taking new patients. If that pings you, if that clicks, if you think, gosh, I need a new doctor, That was divinely inspired. You can even get guidance from strangers. A stranger can walk up to you in a grocery store and start telling you a story, and you realize this is for me. You maybe never forget it. Somebody says something to you and you never forget it. Speaking of soul path, I'll give you a little tidbit here for your soul path. What have other people said to you that you've never understood? And not just one person, but 3 people, 4 people, including a couple of psychics that you've paid good money. And you've said, why do people keep saying I should do that? Hello, your spirit guides are literally on skid row because you're not listening to them. And this is their only job. And you're making it hard for them. They brought 3 people, including a stranger and a psychic, to tell you the same thing. But you're going, I don't get it. I just don't. Well, okay, I've been there too, right? Okay, I've been there too. I've literally had to retire a few spirit guides because I think I just wore them out. But anyway, it's okay. They get, they go to R&R, they get taken care of. They okay. But think about it. Write a book. You should be a teacher. You should be a nurse. You should follow your dream of owning an Airbnb. You should follow your dream of raising miniature pygmy goats. I don't know what your dream is, honey, but people have told you what your dream is. That's your spirit guides giving you guidance that you are ignoring because it sounds crazy. Another note about your soul path. Your soul path sounds crazy. If your soul path was super easy, we would all just do it. There would be no learning. There would be no sporting. Susan wanted it to be sporting. I just want to, oh, God, sporting. Yes. Anyway, I wanted a challenge. I bet you did too. That's why you chose them parents. That's why you chose that first spouse. That's why you chose that crazy career that you can't believe you chose. We do these things so we can learn. So the first reason why you're not getting guidance is you're not recognizing it. So, if you're a regular viewer, you know what I'm going to say. Get a book, get a notepad, put it on your laptop, put it on your phone so it's always with you. And whatever weird thing happens, write it down in the same place, always in the same notebook. If you write it on 50 different pieces of paper, it's not going to work. The point is it has to be written down in the same place so that you can see it all in the same place. So if it's in your notes on your phone, put the date, put the crazy thing that happened, heard this song, don't understand. I'm seeing this repeating number, don't understand. This person from the past came into my memory, do not understand. Having this weird idea to take a trip to this place, do not understand. You don't have to have the answers. This is not about the answers. These are the dots. This is the guidance. Guidance doesn't come fully formed with an entire appendix of see chapter 32 for this. It doesn't come like that because we're supposed to be learning. We're supposed to be learning. So when you write it down, whatever it is, and if you have more to say, write it down, like had a fight, then I saw this repeating number, had a fight, then I heard this thing, or had a beautiful situation with my partner, had a great weekend, had this great conversation with this person, and then I saw this. Is it connected? Question mark. That's okay. Just write it down, because what's going to happen is after a period of time, maybe it's 10 days, 20 days, 30 days, of just whenever, anything you cannot explain, write it down. In 30 days, you're going to read through that, and it's all those little dots that didn't make any sense are going to draw a picture for you. And it's going to astound you. It's going to give you real information. Now, real information always gets more questions. Anything in the spiritual world, any answer you get will have a question. You will say, okay, that's great, but what about this? So you're questing. This life is a quest. You're not supposed to just ace it and then check out, because there's levels. Once you get to this level, you've unlocked the door to the next level, which is sometimes even harder because we're questing and we're learning. Okay. Recognize the guidance by writing it down. If you don't write it down, your brain is going to say, that was weird. Doesn't fit any of my filing cabinets. Doesn't make any sense. I'm going to let it go. I'm not going to remember it. I know this for a fact because when I came out as a psychic, my friends all said, Susan, you don't remember that time that you predicted this? You don't remember that time you were talking to that ghost in the house and it left, or it talked back to you by rattling something? You don't remember? I'm like, no, I literally did not remember any of that stuff because it was weird. It was weird. I don't want to be weird. To this day, I don't want to be weird, but look at me being weird in the public because apparently my soul path was, how weird can Susan be in public? The thing I don't want the most. But here I am, enjoying my soul path. So you're not going to recognize it. You're not going to remember it. And therefore, you're not going to know it even happened. You've got to write it down. It's really critical if you want to understand how they're communicating to you and a better understanding of what the message actually is. Let me move on. Number 2 is not asking for help. Okay, now go back to number 1 when I said we have our birth spirit guides, right? Your birth spirit guides have one job. Remember that? Okay. You can ask them for help because I've tried. I have sat at the little cafe table in the castle with my spirit guide, and I've looked at him and I've been like, and he's just serenely smiling at me. And I'm like, are we speaking 2 different languages? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? I want to get out like a piece of paper. Like, what language do I speak in for you to answer me? Well, none, because all I was asking this dude about was nothing to do with my soul path. In other words, not his job. So, whose job is it? How do you get help then, Susan? Right? Luckily, I have an answer for you. There are all kinds of additional spirit guides and angels that are waiting, that are just waiting by the phone for someone to call them because that is their job. Their job is to help you. And no job is too simple. And I've talked about it in my last video, which is all about spirit guides. And read the comments because they're always fascinating. And there really is such a thing as a parking spot angel. Read the comments. You can't make this up. You can ask for help finding parking spots. That simple, that, generic, that unimportant. Well, guess what, you guys? If you can ask for an angel or a spirit guide to find you a parking spot, you can ask for an angel or a spirit guide to help you with your diet, to help you with your health, to help you with a house remodeling project, to help you with your kids or your grandkids, to help you with your connection to spirit, to help you with anything at all. All you have to do is ask, because remember, going back to number 1, they cannot cross over your free will. They choose not to cross over your free will. Now, the first, your actual birth spirit guides, you gave them permission when you signed the contract to come into this life, into this body. These other spirit guides and angels, they're just extras on the set of your life. And they're willing, they're ready. They want to come in and play a major role in your life. They want to help you. All you have to do is ask, for my highest good, may I get some assistance from my spirit guides or angels regarding this situation? Or even learning something, even doing your taxes, literally anything. I did my taxes in turbo warp speed 1 year, meaning I prepared all the data to give to my accountant, and turbo warp speed 1 year because I asked for an accountant angel. Normally that takes me days and days and days and a lot of teeth gnashing and swearing, and it's not pretty. Let me just say that it's not pretty. And when I asked for this angel/guide to help me, I got it done in 1 day. 1 day. I knew what to do. Everything was just in the flow. Now, that brings me to number 3. Number 3 is not allowing, not accepting it, or believing it. Now, we talked about recognizing it. We talked about our birth spirit guides, and we talked about these additional spirit guides that are for hire, for free. For free. Can't beat that price. Now, what happens is, let's say that you're in any of the 2 cases above of the birth spirit guides or the angels and the guides that you ask for help for. Either, doesn't matter. You're getting the guidance, but you're like, I'm not allowing it. Again, spirit guides are calling, you're not picking up the phone because you don't recognize the number. You're like, spammer. And it is true. Your spirit guides will spam you. If they're working with you on your soul path, they will hit you over and over and over and over again with guidance until you finally get it. They'll never give up. They're not going to give up until your last breath. Your last breath. They will work with you until then. They're never going to give up. And remember, if you achieve this level, well, there's more levels. So don't worry, you're never going to run out of levels. Okay, so allow. How do you allow? You can allow by, this is what, I'm laughing because they just showed me the beginning of this video when I was not allowing, when I was complaining about eating, about not allowing them to give me guidance on my health, right? So again, it goes back to their saying about those of us, and it's mostly all of us, whom people have said, you really are great at fill in the blank. You should consider fill in the blank. Running for office even, right? Becoming a teacher, writing a book, going back to school, all these things. And not 1, not 2, but 3 or 4 or 5 people have told you that. It's not guidance if one person says it. It's guidance when it's repeated. And it's repeated from other people. If your spouse just keeps telling you, well, that's a pretty good indication. But then when your spouse and your friend, and then a psychic, and then a stranger, and then your kid, and then a coworker tells you, that's guidance. That's them calling you up, but you're not allowing because you can't see yourself the way they are seeing you. You can't see yourself because of your limiting beliefs. We all have limiting beliefs about ourselves. I can't be thin. I can't be smart. I can't be successful. I'll never have money. I'll never find true love. I'll never be happy. I'll never be healthy. Those are all limiting beliefs, and they're not true. Because in all those cases, I've seen people who've said that find it, find the happiness, lose the weight, find the love, find the money. You're never going to be in alignment with what you want if you say you're not going to get it. It's like the guides are showing me there's a bridge across the river, and you're standing next to the bridge on the shore. And you're looking at the river and you're saying, I'm never going to get across that river. Not going to happen for me. It's not meant for me in this lifetime. It's just not meant for me. There's a bridge right next to you, but you're not seeing it. You're not allowing it. Okay. Number 2 of number 3 is accepting it. So sometimes we say, well, I'm in allowance. I really want this. I really want better health. I want more money. I want the love. I want the better job. I want more happiness. I want it, Susan. I'm allowing it because I want it. But are you accepting it? When did you go back to number 2? Did you ask for help? Go back to number 2. Did you ask for help? If you did, and you're saying, I asked for help and I am allowing it, but it's not happening, then I would go back to number 1. You're not catching the guidance. They're sending it to you, but you're not catching it because You think your problem cannot be solved the way they want to solve it. That is probably the most important statement I've said in this whole video. You think the problem cannot be solved the way they are suggesting you solve it. Back to the soul path. I'm never going to be this. You can be this. Limiting beliefs. When somebody says to you, you can lose weight without exercise, or you can lose weight without giving up the foods that you love to eat. Sounds crazy, doesn't it? But it's possible. So you're not allowing it. You're not accepting it. You've got to, if you want help from spirit, you have to allow them to take control of the situation. If you're thinking, no, I know what's right. I know how to do this. I know what I can do. I know. Then clearly you're not open to any other help because you know it all. Let go of the I know it and say, I'm giving this up. I'm giving this up. I'm waiting for guidance. I'm a blank slate. Sometimes to get guidance, I will imagine my thoughts as just a blank wall or a white board that hasn't been written on. Try, whenever you have something you're struggling with and you're really wanting to solve it, if you're wanting to solve something, you have control of it because your mind is involved in it. Your mind is trying to solve it. Try this. Try saying, I really want to solve this. I really would like some help with this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to spend a week not thinking about it. If you can't spend a week, give it a day. But I would really tell you that we're in the land of things that you don't think can happen will happen. You've got to let go of thinking it's going to be one way or the other. Because spirit is going to solve this problem in sort of a miracle type way. We all can remember a time when we got something that was so surprising. I can't believe this happened. It never happens to me. What was a time that something really, really good happened to you that you can't explain how it happened? Or something that happened to you that was lucky? God, I was so lucky that this happened. I'm going to tell you right now, luck is the name of your spirit guide. That was guidance. That was not you. That was you giving up or not paying attention to or not being overly concerned with something so that they could actually get in and help you. If you're white knuckling the steering wheel, nobody's going to be able to help you. You've got to release your grip. You've got to give them an opportunity to help you. And then you have to understand that the options are going to come at you from some weird way. Out of the blue and weird. Like the case in point is, I wanted to buy this house. Now, I got the guidance that I shouldn't buy this house. Did that stop me? Do you think that stopped me? No, that did not stop me. I doubled down on it. I'm like, oh no, I'm going to make it work because that's me. I'm a Virgo. I'm going to make this work. I'm going to put this round peg in this square hole by sheer force of determination. So I'm trying to buy this house and it keeps falling through. That was my spirit guides. That was my spirit guides. Then my dad in spirit, I either had a dream or a knowing that my dad in spirit was helping me. And I said, okay, well, that's great. Now, I didn't know how he was helping me. I didn't get that information. Again, you get one dot. The whole picture is not there yet. Then the next thing that happens is I saw this house that was literally probably at least $50,000 under market. $50,000 under market. And I didn't like it. I didn't like it. It didn't meet some of my criteria. I didn't like it. But this other house kept falling through. And then I got the impression or the knowing or the feeling. My dad, oh, my dad wants me to buy this house. It's not like I heard a voice in my head, Susan, buy this house. I just gently got this impression because I was starting to give up on the other house. I was starting to give up from putting that round peg in that square hole. I was starting to say, this is not, I don't think this is meant to happen. And my guides are like, you think? Yeah, finally, no. Okay, she finally, Sal, she finally getting it. Come over here. We need more help. So I call up this guy that's selling this house. He was an investor. He was flipping it. All he did was buy it from some poor person who didn't know what they had, who was in trouble, an extremist, owed taxes, whatever, needed to sell this house today. This investor bought it. I had cash for that amount. I didn't need to get a loan. So I call this guy. He's like, oh, I got 10 offers on this house. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm thinking, because I didn't want it anyway. I'm like, all right, fine. He says, but what are you offering? I said, well, I have cash and I can offer you the full price. And he said, oh, well, let's talk. His 10 offers were like some kind of loans, right? So he's like, oh, let's talk. I bought the house. And because it was so cheap, I was able to put my dream kitchen in it and remodel it. And it was, to this day, my favorite house I've ever owned. But I didn't want it at first. Spirit solved my problem with a house I didn't even want. Now let me clarify that more. Once I went in the house and I visited the house. Now I didn't want it because it didn't have a big enough backyard. That was like the biggest problem that I had with it. It was in the location I wanted. It was the size I wanted. It was kind of a cute house. It just didn't have the backyard. That was like the one thing it didn't have. So it wasn't like it was, a falling down house or anything. I walked in the house and I was by myself. I'll never forget this. There was no furniture. Of course, it was all cleared out. And I sat on the floor and I put my back against the wall and I felt like falling asleep. I felt like taking a nap. I felt so comforted, so in a cocoon, so much like a home. And I'm not a person who even naps. For me to get sleepy, I'm like, is there a gas leak? This place got a gas leak? Am I about to die? I'm like, what is going on? Like, I'm over here like, call 911, place got a gas leak. No, it did not have a gas leak. It was me feeling at home. I would have never bought that house had I not gotten the guidance, because it was not what I was thinking about. So pay attention to things that are odd, that are different. Just give it an extra look. Give it an extra consideration. Okay. And then the other thing is believing it, right? You got the guidance, but you don't believe it. Again, I didn't believe it about this house. It cannot be for me. I can't believe that I would get this house for $50,000 under market. How is that possible? Literally, this was a miracle. This was a miracle. And it was during that time when houses were selling, a few years ago when houses were selling really quickly for any amount of money. It made no sense. Spirit literally held time for me. They gave me an opportunity. You can miss it. They'll give you another opportunity. They'll hold space for you. But just realize it may come packaged in a different looking package. This goes for relationships. This goes for jobs. This goes for careers. This goes for everything in your life. Spirit is going to solve your problem, but it's probably not going to look the way you would solve it. Therefore, you may not recognize it. So if it's an oddball thing, if it basically meets your criteria, you know what I mean? It's safe. It looks good. Your friends are like, wow, that's great. But you're saying no. If everybody else is giving you good feedback, but you're saying no, that's your limiting belief that you cannot have that because it doesn't match up with your idea of it has to cost a lot of money. It has to be too much work. I have to work really, really hard for it. That person is too good looking, too whatever to be interested in me. This is too good to be true. Remember, the guides are showing me you're standing by the river saying, I can't cross the river, but there's a bridge right next to you. Because you cannot imagine that in your life, you could cross the river so easily because you've been conditioned to think everything is hard. Everything's a struggle. Maybe because everything has been a struggle, but that's the past, honey. You are hooked up with your spirit guides now. They're going to start making things easier for you. And number 4 is not acting on it. Stops the flow of guidance. Future steps can't be given yet. You are stuck. You are stuck. Number 4 is not acting on it. We talked about it just now in number 3. If I couldn't buy the house I wanted to buy, which would have, that would have interfered with my soul path for a lot of reasons. In this particular case, that house would have interfered with my soul path. It's a long story, but they interfered because that house was about to mess up my soul path. And they were like, nope, 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 nope. I mean, everything that could go wrong with that house went wrong with that house. I put in like 2 contracts on that house and they fell through. So I tried to act on the wrong thing. But what if I didn't act on the right one? What if I didn't act over and over again? I'll give you another case in point because I like to use myself as a teaching resource. I don't know what word they're using. It's funny because your soul path your soul path is something that can be evident through different careers. Isn't that a mind-blowing thing? My first career was a professional photographer for 22 years. In those 22 years, my spirit guides tried to get me to teach. I did not. I was terrified of teaching, literally terrified. I even hired another photographer to teach for me. Now, the other thing they tried to get me to do was write a book. Those 2 things. How did I know they were trying to get me to do it? Because I kept thinking I should teach. I kept getting the impression I should write a book. I got the urge to write a book. If it's your soul path, you're going to have an urge to do something. You're going to be compelled to do it. You're going to think about doing it. But if you don't take action, you have free will. Even though your spirit guides have free will to push you, to nudge you, to help you, you still have the ultimate free will. You still have ultimate free will to say no. If you keep saying no, you're going to end up in a stuck energy. You're not moving forward. You're stuck. So now I have a new career. What am I doing? Teaching. And I will write a book. So those things, it's just like helping people or being a healer. You could be a healer being a psychic. You can be a healer being a healer. You could be a healer being a nurse. You could be a healer even being a teacher. The energy of a healer is running throughout all of these careers. If that is your soul path, then you can manifest that soul path in many different ways. But if you don't manifest it, if you're supposed to be a healer and yet you're an accountant, you're going to be really just stuck and upset with yourself and probably depressed because you're not manifesting this energy that wants to be manifested. So understand that your soul path can be manifested through many different types of careers. But if you're not acting on the guidance, you're stuck. Okay? Number 5 is not acknowledging the guidance and being in a state of gratitude. Now, this is important because if you've kind of worked on 1, 2, 3, 4, if you've worked on those 4 things and you're getting guidance and you're keeping your log of the guidance you're getting, and sometimes you're catching them in the act, that's what I like to say, because your spirit guides that are your birth spirit guides, your main spirit guides, sometimes they just want you to do it without asking questions. They always give me the analogy of, if you need to get a 3-year-old in a car seat, you don't want them to start asking questions. You want them to just kind of robotically, without thinking about it, go to the car, climb up on the seat, get in the seat, and buckle up and say, "Where are we going?" That's what they want us to do. They want us to follow the guidance without even thinking about it. They want us to follow that nudge to write that book, follow that nudge to go to that class, follow that nudge to do XYZ. Because once we start asking questions, then we're in resistance. We're not in compliance. We're not in the flow. Why do you want me to write a book? I could never write a book. Who would read my book? What, are you crazy? Go back to the beginning of this video when I went on a diatribe about how they told me to stop eating donuts and chocolate and cheese and all these things, right? That's resistance and not being grateful for the guidance. So another way to handle that would be, okay, you know what? I didn't like it when my spirit guides, when I got the guidance, when I got the knowledge, when I got the notion, when I felt the energy of, these donuts are good, but I don't think they're very good for me. I mean, more so not good for me than not good for others. Maybe other people can eat donuts and it's okay, but for me, I don't think it's very good. And for me, I really want to be in a state of loving my body. I want to be in a state of helping myself. Do I really want to not help myself? Do I really want to be working at odds against myself? Because when we do that, that's what we're doing. Now, when you put it to me like that, I'm like, well, yeah, why would I want to walk around with a hammer and hit myself in the thumb? So if I equate eating bad food for myself as taking a hammer and hitting me in the thumb, all of a sudden, my brain has made a new neural connection that says, this is not helpful to you. That's a much better way of looking at it. So when you get guidance, you can say, okay, it just turns out that my spirit guides think, or the guidance, or the energy, or whatever it is, however you want to say it, it feels like I might be good, or I might have something to say if I write a book, or I might be a good teacher. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I should try. What if I just gave it a try? Because I'll tell you what, if you take one step that happens to be towards your soul path, the doors open. Abundance comes in, support comes in, everything you wanted comes in, your life is easier. You're in the flow. So what happens is, if you start getting the guidance and you're in the flow, what you want to do is be grateful. You want to acknowledge, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you for that. Wow. Now I want you to do this, because this is how you take it to the next level. We say thank you from our head. Why? Because we're taught as kids to say thank you. We're not taught to feel thank you. We're taught to say thank you. It's rote. Sadly, some people aren't even taught that. But I want you to take this to the next level, and I want you to take it out of your brain. I don't want you to take it into your heart. I want you to feel it. Thank you. Bring energy. Try to imagine energy in your body. Try to imagine the thank you energy in your body. Try to imagine pure gratitude. Oh my goodness, thank you. thank you. Practice bringing it into your body. If you do that, you're in a state of gratitude, and not just a thinking gratitude, but a state of gratitude. I'm not saying it's going to be always. Sometimes you're just going to say thank you because you're thinking about something else, because you're busy, because you're distracted. That's okay. But sometimes, and especially when you feel like you've been given some guidance that really helped you, try to go into a state of gratitude down here in your heart. Take just a second and bring your energy and say, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. That state of gratitude raises your vibration. When a higher vibration, you're closer to your spirit guides who love you unconditionally. They love you when you're yelling at them. They love you when you're distracted. They love you when you're overweight. They love you when you're too busy. They love you when you're sick. They love you when you made a bad decision. They love you when you made a bad mistake. They love you 100% unconditionally. So when we start experiencing that unconditional love for ourselves, for them, we are in a closer connection to them, and therefore we get better guidance, more guidance, clearer guidance. When you're down here in victim mode, why is my life so bad? Why is this happening? Why am I standing here looking at this river when I can't cross it? Why does life always do that to me? Why does life always put a river in front of me that they know I cannot cross? Why do they treat me like that? When if you just turned your head to the side, took 15 steps that way, there's a bridge. Maybe there's a tree in front of it and you can't see it from your vantage point of your pity party. Raise your vibration. Be grateful. Find things to be grateful for. Last thing I'm going to say to you is the most important thing too. Find 5 things you did not know you were grateful for. 5 things you did not know you were grateful for. You cannot use your hands. You knew you were grateful for this. You cannot use your house. You knew you were grateful for that. I challenge you, because you want to know what happens? You start looking for something to be grateful for. When you look for something to be grateful for, you find things that you're grateful for that you didn't know you were grateful for. I always use this example because I don't like these curtains. I don't like them. They're here for a reason. And so I have to look at them and say, okay, yeah, I'm grateful for you. You're ugly as sin. I mean, really, I'm sorry. I'm just calling it like it is. You're ugly, you ugly, you ugly. But you do a great job of blocking the sun. You are a great sun blocker. And I know you can't help it, you ugly, but I'm the one that bought you. So, I guess that's on me. But anyway, thank you. I'm grateful. I'm grateful for them, right? I really am. I'm really deeply grateful for them. I really am. And I'm grateful for you. Thank you so much for watching to the end of this long-winded video. I told you it's a complicated subject. I hope it has helped you. I am Susan Lynn. I'm a psychic and a medium, and I channel these messages, as you could see here. And if you're interested in this video series, there are so many more videos. I will leave a link to the entire playlist in the description. I will also leave a link to some videos that I think you might be interested in specifically. And also, I will leave a link to my website where you can find in-person events, classes, and a really robust, really fun, the spirit guides call it a spiritual support group, which I don't know if that's good or bad. I haven't decided if that's good or bad, but I have an online community, and it's a lot like Facebook or Instagram. It's all those things all rolled in together. You can join it for 12 bucks a month. You can cancel anytime, but your people are there, and you can post on there, good Lord, I had the craziest dream last night, and your friends can talk back to you. It's a place where you can share your specific spiritual journey and questions and find people to support you. It's truly a magical community, and that's what it's called, the magical metaphysical community. You can find the link at my website, www.susanlynnmedium.com, but you can also find it in the description. You guys take really, really good care of yourselves. I'll see you again next Wednesday.